yarn, hook, stitch marker, stuffing. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect crochet. But Nova accidentally added one extra ingredient, her creative chaos. And thus, Nova Gnome Creations was born.
Hi guys, this is Nova Gnome Creations and I'm Nova, and I want to welcome you back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome to my channel, and if not, I am so glad that you decided to come back and hang out with me. Today I am going to be showing you guys how I put these crocheted pouches with these like pre-purchased, or like, well, I guess they are pre-purchased, but like already sewn, already zippy-fied pouches. You can get these really cheap on like Amazon and stuff. I will link where I got mine on Amazon in the description box in case you're interested. But you can get these in like any size. So you could do like notions pouches or makeup pouches, or, you know, like wallets, whatever. And then just put them into your crochet that you do to be the same size, and then glue them in, and then it's all no-sew, and you've got yourself a little zipper pouch with lining. So that's a perfect way to have it lined and have it zippy. So some of you guys had said that you wanted to see how I glue them in, so I went ahead and finished crocheting it. The way that I crocheted it, I just made a chain that was the length of the bottom of this, and then I went around the edges and I increased at the corners. I went all the way around it in like a spiral, like a round, and I increased at the corners, and then once I did that, I just worked up, no increases or anything, just kept going around until I got to the height that I wanted. So I was using scrap yarn for this. That was like kind of my whole thing lately, is I'm using up little scraps of yarn. So I went until I ran out of green, and then I switched to this blue. I tried to put my color change on one side, and then I deemed that to be the back. And then what I wanted to try out for this project was cross stitching on to like chenille yarn. I ended up using worsted weight yarn for the black part of this, just because I'm using scraps. Like, I'm using very small little scraps of yarn. And I had that handy. Like, literally all of these yarns were just sitting next to me, where I have like a bunch of little scraps of yarn that I'm trying to use up. So the cheeks I did with little purple, because I have literally the tiniest bit of purple. This is what's left of that tiny bit of purple. Maybe enough to do some more cheeks on something. I used up every last bit of this green, and then there is a little bit of blue left. So, working my way through those scraps. As far as the eyes go, I did safety eyes, and then I'm actually wanted to show you guys what I'm doing with these. So, on the inside, you may see the safety eye backs, and this one is like super flat. This is my first time doing this, but I've seen people talk about it before, melting the backs of the safety eyes. I'm doing that because I'm going to have this wallet in here, and this actually sticks out quite a lot. I already even started to melt it a little, but you can see that sticks out like, I'm not really good with measurements, but over a centimeter, like that's a pretty significant amount to stick out between the layers of this. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try flattening it. Look at that. Okay, so anyway, I thought I would show you guys this also, because I'm already having my glue gun out to glue this in. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try flattening it with my glue gun, and this works perfectly. So literally all I did was I pressed my glue gun side of like the metal part into the back of the safety eye, into the post of it. And I'm not even pushing hard. It just give like a little bit of pressure, and it'll slowly melt it down and move down on its own. So you don't got to push hard, so you don't got to worry about sliding. But just like slowly, you know, or not like slowly, but like lightly apply pressure. And it melts pretty quick. I've had my glue gun heating up while I finished up my project. So I knew that it would be ready, and this metal part always gets super hot. but this plastic doesn't stick to it. So you can just gently melt it down, apply just gentle pressure, light pressure, and it'll just keep moving down the post and flattening that until you get to the point where you're like, okay, that's good. Like, I think that's good. That is so much better. It takes up so much less space. And now they're flat. It's like, that's not coming off of there or anything. It actually forms like a barrier to where it literally can't come off. Like that plastic can't come off. So, very cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this in. So I've got all my tails in here. All I did was tie them together, and then I'm just, they're like maybe an inch long or whatever, and I'm just going to leave them. But yeah, so anyway, my feedback on cross stitching for the first time onto here. So I cross stitched this onto here using chenille yarn, and I cross stitched these onto here using just worsted weight acrylic. This is anti-pill acrylic, actually. You can see that there is quite a big difference between cross stitching with just regular yarn and cross stitching with chenille yarn. I can definitely see the appeal, the chenille appeal of using the chenille, because it just looks like colored stitches. It doesn't look like you cross stitched it on, which is definitely the idea. So I did it with this just because that was the scrap I had sitting next to me. I still think it looks really cute. I love it. But definitely chenille yarn is what's going to give you that look, like almost like you literally just did color changes in those specific spots. So this is genius for if you want to do color changes in small sections like this, so that you're not having, you know, like visible color jogs like you do when you do some color changes. Well, I guess that looks pretty good actually, but you get what I'm saying. This is genius for, like, especially if you need to go back and do a color change, or, you know, maybe you messed up and you like get done with something and you realize you like did a stitch in the wrong color. Cross stitch it on. That's like genius. Okay, so it's been a while since I did one of these pouches like this, but basically what I do is I put it inside of here and try to line up all the corners. So try to like grab your corners from inside of the bag, line them up, make sure that everything is lined up how you want it. This will also be a good way for you to tell if your bag is like the right size, if you need to make more rows, that kind of thing. When I did this before, I think I literally just glued the top, because the bottom of it's not going to have any way of coming off if you glue the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to stay attached. Trying to remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just glued the top. I think I just glued around the edges. So I just flipped this back. And then I'm actually going to put the glue on the bag itself. And I'm going to be really generous with this glue. Alright, get a lot of glue in there. And then I'm going to kind of let it tip this way so that it goes down a little bit. Kind of drips down a little. And then press. And you're going to want to press firmly. You're going to want to hold it there for quite a while, just to like really give that glue a chance to set and to heat up the fibers of your yarn, which will help it to adhere better. But that's like pretty much it. If you want to glue it further down, you can. You could probably flip this inside out actually and glue down the bottom, and then flip it right side out and glue the rest of it down. But I was thinking about it, and I think I only glued around the edges last time, and I had no problems. Like I said, I've had one of my bags that I did this way with just regular worsted weight acrylic yarn. I've had it for a couple of years, and it still is like perfect. So works pretty well for me. I actually almost feel like attaching it at other places gives you more of a chance of it like not wanting to lay flat or like move the way that you want it to move. I feel like just attaching it up towards the top is the way to go. And by the way, you probably noticed I didn't go super close to the edge. The hot glue always spreads when you push down on it. So you see that it went all the way up here already. And if you do this and you're like, no, that didn't go up as high as I wanted it to, you can always come back through, run your glue gun under here while you hold this up, and just add more glue. A good rule of thumb for like getting too close to the edge when you're using hot glue is that you can always add more hot glue and like go closer to the edge, but you can't undo the hot glue that you've done. And you'll see that this is still good. It didn't like seep through or anything like that. It doesn't mess with the integrity of your pouch itself. Okay, so before I do the other side, I want to do the edges a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is take my glue gun, which I'm gonna need to add another glue stick to. I have just a mini glue gun. I wish I had some of those like 8-inch long glue sticks. Those things are so awesome. I'm just gonna go down in here. And same thing, I'm gonna give myself, I guess in sewing it would be like a seam allowance, you know? Give yourself that seam allowance. I'm gonna kind of push it against it, but I'm also gonna pinch it so that it lays the way I want it, because it's got a little bit of an excess, you know? And then something that I like to do if my glue is bubbling up too much is I take some tweezers and I just press down on it, because the tweezers are cold metal and the glue will kind of dry as soon as it hits them at that spot, and then you can push it down and shape it a little bit how you want to. So now it's adhered to the bag and it's also adhered to itself at the corner. And I'm going to do the same thing for this edge. So I'm going to get down in there. I'm going to put my glue, pull this glue strand off of here. Okay. Put my glue down in the edge of the bag, which gets a little bit harder the further into the bag, gluing the bag on you get. I'm going to take this, make sure it's laying kind of how I want it. Press it together against the bag and against itself. So you're pinching, but you're also pushing against the bag. And same as before, if your glue comes up any, too much, just press it down with your tweezers. I'm giving that a squeeze for a second to make sure that the glue has time to dry. And then it's time to do the back. Same thing for the back that I did for the front. Hopefully I have enough glue heated up in my glue gun. But I'm just going to be generous with my glue. Go all along in here. And I'm leaving myself that little allowance there. And I'm going to press. And make sure you press for a good amount of time and firmly. Make sure you've got your bag sitting the way that you want it to. At every point before I press it down, I always make sure that I've got it sitting the way that I want it sitting. That way I'm not pulling it weirdly and then pressing it and gluing it and then my bag is yanked. And there we go. So then you have this cute little pouch. You would have absolutely no idea that this was glued onto here. It feels super solid. You can still use the pouch and all the zippiness, and it feels so much more sturdy now. It's crazy how much more sturdy this feels. But you'd never know that that was glued in there. It doesn't, you can't see the glue, you can't feel the glue. I think it is such a nice hack for not having to sew a lining and sew a zipper in. And like I said, I don't know how to sew other than I just take a needle and thread and I do it, but I don't have a sewing machine. I've never been having any formal training or anything like that, so I'm not really confident in my sewing abilities, and so I really prefer this. But I hope that that answered some questions. And like I said, I had a few people say that they wanted to see how I glued it in. So hopefully you enjoyed that. But I really like how the cross stitching came out. And it was like a last minute idea to do the safety eyes. I was just going to do cross stitched eyes as well, just like, you know, little black ones. But I'm really glad I did the safety eyes. I think it works so well for the frog. And I ended up doing a frog head, by the way, just because this green just screamed frog to me. Also, guys, I will say you cannot feel those safety eye backs at all. Like, they are so flat in there. That is so cool. Anyway, guys, I took some footage. I was torn between saying video and footage, and I was like, video. I took some footage of us having a little fun out, and I thought I would throw those in here in case you guys wanted to come along for our little journey. We went and saw the ducks and turtles at the park. We went to this little, very small local aquarium. I didn't take any pictures or videos of the aquarium, but I did take a selfie in there of us. So I will go ahead and pop those in here. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope you guys are all doing awesome. And I enjoyed hanging out with you today. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.
Oh, oh. Wow, there's even more.
Babe, way up there. You see the hairs?
Yep, I see him. That's why I was going to the other side.
Over there.
Yep.
They're everywhere. Here you go, babe. What?
I'm gonna say this one to get out. Look at these guys swimming out. They're so funny. Hey, dude. Out here, late. There you go. Get it? Guys, get in. They are definitely be late to the party.
One was weak and I fed it just.
Oh.
Because the girl could bitch up and try to get really such food in my face. Oh, look at that guy. We need to put that guy right there. Oh, no. No. Which one? That one right there. Oh, that's so... Oh, I thought you
Or not. Yeah.
That's an interesting looking one.
Yep.